Welcome to this episode of Hebrew the Living Word. I am Dr. charleslu. Like a fine jeweler who examines a beautiful diamond, in this series of teachings, I'm going to help you to see the multi-dimensional aspects of a Hebrew word. Today, we will be painting a brand new word picture together. This word is probably one of the most famous words in the world. Its popularity is transcontinental. Almost everywhere in the world, people know and recognize the meaning of this common Hebrew word. According to Strong's Concordance number H7965, this word means completeness, wholeness, health, welfare, tranquility, prosperity, perfectness, fullness, rest, harmony, the absence of agitation or discord. So what is the word? It is the word Shalom. It is composed out of 4 Hebrew letters, Shin, Lamed, Vav, and Mem, and it means peace. You will be surprised to find out the authentic meaning of this word at the end of this session. I promise you, you will be thrilled to learn the reality about this tranquil word, peace. According to the law of first mention, it is essential to know the location in the Bible that the first time this word appeared. We're all familiar with Abraham's heroic rescue of his nephew Lot. This word Shalom appeared right after this climatic event in Genesis 14, but its first appearance is not the complete spelling of the word, but in the prime root form, Shalem, and we pronounce it as Salem. Here are what the verses say. Then after his return from the defeat of Chedorlaomer, and the kings who were with him, the king of Salem went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was a priest of God Most High. He blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. He gave him 1/10 of all. We find the same narrative being told in the New Testament as well. Here are what Hebrews 7 verses 1-2 say. For this Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High God, who met Abraham as he was returning from the slaughter of the kings, and blessed him, to whom also Abraham apportioned 1/10 part of all the spoils, was first of all, by the translation of his name, King of Righteousness, and then also King of Salem, which is King of Peace. In other words, the geographic area of the city of Salem, or the city of peace, is correlated to the prophetic appearance of a king of peace, a king of righteousness, and a priest of God the Most High. Who is he? What is he like? And why Salem? Quoting a famous saying from St. Augustine, he says, the Old Testament is a New Testament concealed, and the New Testament is the Old Testament revealed. This is a very profound understanding of the relationship existed between the two. For many of you who only read and study from the New Testament, you are missing out on many of the clues which are hidden in the Old Testament Tanakh. Now back to the subject. Let me answer these perplexing questions of who, what, and why. There is only one other person in the history of the world who fits the profile of a king of peace and a king of righteousness and a priest of the Most High God, besides Melchizedek. His name is Jesus. Remember, right after Jesus' triumphal entry into the city of Jerusalem, the whole crowd and the disciples began to praise God by shouting, Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest. Notice the location of the event, Jerusalem, and the title king that was presented to Jesus. Will you be surprised to know that the exact location where Abraham offered his tenth of spoils to Melchizedek is the same location where this new king of righteousness has entered? It is currently the city of Jerusalem in Israel. We can confirm this fact from Psalm 76, verse 1 to 2. It says, God is known in Judah. His name is great in Israel. His tabernacle is in Salem. His dwelling place also is in Zion. If one can point to one place on this planet which has no peace for the last few thousands of years, that would be Jerusalem, the city of peace. Why is there such a perplexing dichotomy exists in this city? Was there a mystery hidden in its name? We'll find out later. But before we go any further, we need to break down the picture meaning of this word, Shalom, to get a concrete understanding of this word. The letter Shem implies the meaning to devour, to destroy, teeth, or the number 2. The letter Lamed implies the meaning of authority, because it shapes like a shepherd's staff. The letter Vav implies the meaning of the word and, a nail, to connect or to join. And the final letter Mem implies the meaning of chaos, water, or blood. So, if we combine these meanings together, it forms this phrase, two authorities connected or joined by blood. And that's the word picture meaning for the word Shalom. But I want to focus on the letter Vav, because it is this letter Vav which unlocks the meaning behind this word Shalom. Vav is constructed of a single vertical line. Vav implies the meaning of a nail because it shapes like one. Grammarly speaking, it means to connect the word and. Its function is to connect two separate words together by the word and. To the Jews, Vav is known as the Great Connector because it connects the heavens and the earth in the first verse of Genesis. Vav can also be viewed as a path or a bridge, the means which one go from one place to another. In this sense, a bridge to peace. Finally, Vav appears in the four-letter name of Yahweh, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. We get a better sense of this word in Paleo-Hebrew. The letter Vav connects the Yud-Heh with Hey. Yud-Heh Yah, which means God, and Hey is a picture of a man standing with his hands raised, which symbolizes to praise. So Vav connects God's name Yah with praise, the letter Hey. We find this amazing understanding of Yahweh's name is summed by the psalmist. In Psalm 69 verse 30 says, I will praise the name of God with song and magnify him with thanksgiving. Now back to the subject. The real meaning behind this word Shalom is not the state of a solitary being, nor is it a feeling-based word, nor it is a political gesture between the warring parties. But we often hear people using this word purely in a sense of personal well-being. But that is not the scriptural definition of this word. Let us go to the Bible to dig deeper into this word Shalom and the core meaning of to connect. In order to do this, we need to visit the book of Leviticus to paint a detailed word picture of this word. There is a very important feast instituted by Yahweh, which is called the peace offering or is known as fellowship offering. Do you know that every sacrificial offering that an Israelite offered was of a certain type and for a specific purpose? Imagine for a moment that you were an Israelite in the days of Moses, and you were about to make a peace offering according to all the regulations in the Pentateuch. First, you were to offer a peace offering as an act of thanksgiving or to fulfill a special vow or as a free will offering. Second, you will begin by selecting an animal without any defect, either male or female, from the herd or the flock. You will then bring this animal to the doorway of the tent of meeting, where you will lay your hand upon its head, thus identifying your sin with this animal and yourself with its death. After you slain the animal, the priest will collect the blood, which is shed, and sprinkle it around the altar. Third, this offering was shared by God, by priests, and by the offerer. And fourth, this peace offering was unique in the sense that there was a meal associated with this offering. In short, according to the Levitical commands, peace offerings were employed for the ratification of solemn covenants, treaties, and alliances with Yahweh, and the common meal which usually followed on such occasions is to seal the deal, so to speak. In other words, do you realize that peace offering, or the offering of Shalom, is a covenant? It is a covenant of peace between the sinful man and Yahweh. Remember the great connector vav in the word Shalom? It is through this offering that we can reconnect with the Holy God, who does not allow sin in His presence. What follows this peace offering is usually a time of great celebration. In Deuteronomy 27 verse 7 records these happy words, "And you shall sacrifice peace offerings and eat there, and rejoice before the Lord your God." Because it's only after all these events, peace is once again restored in the camp of the Israelites. Do you know that in order to obtain peace, that there are legal proceedings? For an Israelite, he must fulfill his obligations in order to receive this covenantal peace assurance from Yahweh. It's definitely not a feeling, but an act of obedience to Yahweh. It involves two parties, and each has to fulfill his obligations in order for this peace agreement to be rectified. As we've mentioned previously, the three-letter root word for Shalom is Shem Lamed Mem, and it means complete. But there's another interesting word, Shamonim, Strong's number H8021, and it means payment. And another similar word, Shalach, Strong's number H7971, which means to send a gift. So if we combine all these meanings together, it means to send the complete payment of peace, or to send the gift of peace. I'm sure that you know who has already completed this payment in order to fulfill these legal requirements for peace. It is none other than the Prince of Peace, Sar Shalom, Jesus. The question is, are you fulfilling yours? In Ephesians 2, verse 14 says, "For He Himself is our peace, who made both groups into one, and broke down the barrier of the dividing wall." Another important understanding that we need to know about this word Shalom is that it has a source. And your obvious question is where? Well, let me answer you with another question. Do you know that Shalom is one of God's name? We find this revelation being revealed in the book of Judges, chapter 6, verse 24. "Then Gideon built an altar there to the Lord, and named it the Lord is Peace, Yahweh Shalom." Therefore, the source of peace is only found in Yahweh, and is connected to His name. Also in the famous Aaronic benediction in Numbers chapter 6 verse 24, "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up His countenance on you and give you peace." Now pay attention to the last line. The Lord gives you peace. Then Jesus told the disciples in John chapter 14 verse 27, He says, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Do not let your heart be troubled, nor let it be fearful. Both verses confirm the fact that peace is a precious gift from God, and it can only be found in Jesus, who is the Prince of Peace. If you are seeking real peace in your life, not what the world offers, a false sense of peace, let me assure you, it is nowhere to be found except in Him. In conclusion, you know that Abraham has to give a gift to the King of Salem, or the King of Peace, Melchizedek. The Israelites also have to make offerings and sacrifices to Yahweh. In return, Yahweh has given us His precious gift of peace, Shalom, to us. Do you want this gift? If your answer is affirmative, then you must know how to connect or graft it into Him by letting the Prince of Peace rule over your life. Let this fruit of the Spirit, peace, Shalom, fully develop in you. I will see you in the next episode of Hebrew, the Living Word. Shalom Aleichem.